Hello and welcome to The Coop by Chicks in Charge with Chicks in Charge. Every week we're going to be talking to boss chicks around the country. And yes, we're right here in the middle of the pandemic, so that has a little bit to do with our conversation today. But I'm so happy to have on this blue couch at The Coop in downtown Edmond our first guest on our new series, Cyndy Hoenig.
Hello.
Longtime publicist. We've known each other for a long time. We have a great history together. And Cyndy, I'll tell you what, you guys, she has the best stories, and we don't have enough time today to go into them all. But what we aspire for this series for the audience, both on video or if you're listening in the podcast, is to give you guys real talk, raw advice, things that we can use immediately in our lives and our businesses. For our listeners and viewers out there, you know, maybe we're all at probably different stages in our career and our lives, and we are all dealing with the pandemic in different ways. Some of us have lost jobs or lost revenue with our jobs. I've actually met a lot of people though who have also launched new jobs and new careers. We had someone join Chicks in Charge the other day who had retired from her initial career, and her 4 kids are out of the house now, and now she's starting something new. And so I love that too. News. And so our theme today with Cyndy as our guest, because she has all of this amazing experience in PR and publicity, is she's going to give us some advice on what to do, you know, to get the word out there in a time when it's so noisy. Everything's so noisy out there. It's so hard to break through the clutter, and there are more platforms than ever. You know, so many people use Twitter as their PR now, and that's where they make their announcements and all of that. So Cyndy, tell us kind of what are the, you know, top few things that you feel like women need to know to be their own quote unquote PR rock star. Yeah. Cyndy wrote a book back when I had Buzz Books, and she published this amazing book on just this exact thing, giving people advice on like how to be your own wonderful publicist. Now, and it always helps to have a real publicist working with you, but kind of what guidance do you have for us?
Well, if you're on your own, and a lot of women and people are right now wanting to get the word out about their businesses and their projects and what they're doing. And of course, the most important thing to do is, of course, I love social media. It's just another, hook on our tool belt.
Right.
But if used correctly, it can be great. But the first thing you want to do is never deny mass communication, which is TV, radio, and print. Print is forever. It's never going away. Right. Even with social media and the internet. Trust me, it's never going away. And you have to think about, first of all, who is your target market? Okay? Who do you want to reach? Who's going to buy your product? Who do you need to reach? And then you decide where you're going to do that. Are you going to do it via Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest? Are you going to do it on Twitter? A lot of people do it on Twitter. But what I do and what I tell people is, if you don't have a publicist, you write down in 5 sentences what is called a pitch.
Okay. What
are the 5 most important things about your business? Why is it different? Why should somebody buy this as opposed to something else? What is its best use? What is it used for? Right. Why is it useful? Why does somebody need it? Those are the most important things. And let me tell you something. If you do it right, and you've got to email it to a journalist, and you've got to find out what that journalist. You can go online. You can look up the website of the media outlet, find out who covers what it is you're selling.
Okay.
And then you send that directly to him, and you be respectful and kind and say thank you for all you do, and you let him have that and let him go with it. And I've got to tell you, 9 times out of 10 that they'll send it back. They'll call you back, or they'll email you back, and they'll want more information. All you want is to get them on the phone, to get a meeting. It's kind of like your elevator speech. I tell people about you know what the elevator speech is. It's and for those of you who don't know, it's like you're in a building with 14 floors. You get on the building on the first floor, and on the third floor, the CEO of a major corporation gets on, or the editor of the Oklahoman or the New York Times gets on, and he presses 12. So you've got those floors to get him interested in you and your product, and all you want is the chance, the meeting to get, because if you get in front of him, the odds are you're gonna have a deal.
Okay, so in both of those instances, so you talked about having a good hook and
Absolutely.
a good pitch. So because obviously if we're sending a story and then that's something that the journalist or the reporter isn't interested in there because it's too boring or whatever, how can we find what the best hook is that's going to interest them? What are your tips on that?
My tips are, why is it different?
Okay.
What does it mean to the community?
Okay.
Why does the reader or the viewer, is it emotional? Are they going to feel it?
Okay.
I had something that just happened with a woman who has started in her community. She found a need that there were people there that didn't have Christmas dinner.
Okay.
She got a couple of our girlfriends together from this area and did the research, found out what they needed, and they're doing a Christmas dinner drive. We wrote a press release, a pitch and a press release, and we sent it out, and 5 minutes later, one of the TV channels called and wanted to interview, because not that it was, those things can be boring, but the fact that she was raising, it was the community doing it, and she had gotten her own sponsors, she had gotten her own committee together, and she was just a parent of the school system that wanted to do this and make sure everybody got fed for Christmas. That was an emotional hook.
Right.
And other hooks are, what is passionate about it? Why would my readers care?
So know the audience
exactly
of whoever you're pitching
and
to.
if it's a product, 3 reasons why it cannot fail.
Okay.
3 reasons why it's better than my competition. And you can prove that, you're going to get some attention.
So sometimes it's knowing what's happening in the community
Absolutely.
as well. So that you can say this ties in, so the timeliness of what it is. Looking at what's happening in society right now, and then how could that relate?
And, yes, and also think about it, if you're questioning whether it's important enough, send it in on a slow news day. Like the day after a holiday is a slow news day.
Okay.
Monday is a slow news day.
Okay. What days are not good then? So is a Friday not
good
to do a pitch?
No.
Don't do a pitch on a
Tuesday,
Friday.
Wednesday, and Thursday.
Tuesday, Wednesday,
are
Thursday.
the only days. And when you do it at 8 o'clock in the morning, 8:30 maybe. But you want to do it before 9 o'clock because our journalists get to their desk at 9, and the first thing they do is check their emails. You don't want yours to be low. You want it to be high. So I say maybe 8:30 at the latest. So your pitch is going to come up.
Okay.
And then there's the follow-up. The follow-up is 2 days later, and this is my system. 2 days later, you follow up, and you don't say, "Did you get it?"
Okay.
They know you tell them that you want to make sure that they saw it, and do they need any more information to move forward.
Okay.
And then you've got them on the phone. Now, a lot of times you can't get them on the phone. They don't answer, or they don't return your calls. So the deal is you leave 2 messages max. Then after that, you keep calling till they pick up, and you hang up if they don't pick up.
Okay.
Ultimately, you will reach them.
Okay. I love that. That's great. So be persistent.
Absolutely. And
so assertive but not aggressive.
Yes.
That's why you're not leaving 20 voicemail messages.
No.
Then you come off as a stalker.
They'll never call you.
They'll be like, okay, there's a lot of crazy happening
Yeah,
here.
I'm done with that. And they'll throw your release or your pitch in the trash.
Right.
Or they'll just, send it to the trash on the computer. They're not going to pay attention to you, because basically journalists, people buy from people they know, like, and trust. and that's really important. So what if you're planning on, you need to make it's good to make contacts with journalists. For instance, you can follow them on Twitter and comment or retweet what they've said. You're forming a relationship there. The same thing on Facebook. The same thing on you can comment on something they wrote, an article they wrote. But before you send them anything, you need to read their last 5 articles and make sure that they're covering what you're selling.
Right. Okay. Great advice. Okay. So of course, I'm a brand strategist, and I also work as a personal brand coach as well. And branding has a lot to do, how to grow your brand falls right in line with good PR and publicity, because so what would be your advice there for someone's personal brand to elevate that so that people can make the right connections and be known in the community? You had mentioned how that woman had done some nonprofit work in the community. That would be a great example of getting plugged in that. What are some other things that people could do to grow their personal
brand? An organization that can benefit from your support.
Okay.
Something you're interested in, whether it be hungry children or a food bank or anything, and volunteer there, and then find yourself a place on their board, and then ultimately you can do it, and give them information and support that means something, that's helpful, and guess what? You'll piggyback on that organization's PR, and you'll be a part of that, and your name will be in a good light in the community. People will hear about you, and then other people will want you to work on their things. And that takes aggression and assertion and a little bit of aggression, but as we said, not too much. But that's what and another thing I say is hand out your business cards like candy on Halloween, because you go to fundraisers, you go to have coffee with your girlfriends, you go to parties in the evening with your husbands or significant others. Whatever you do, pass them out, hand your cards out, always have them with you.
So know your elevator pitch.
Yes.
So that whenever you do go to those coffees or whatever, because a lot of times we meet new people, and you may leave the conversation and not even know what that person does.
That's exactly right.
Because we don't want to come off as, well, I'm bragging about my business or whatever. We're not talking about that. We're just saying, have a way to state what you do and how you help people within 1 or 2 sentences.
And
once you nail that down,
that's exactly
easier.
right. And also put your picture on your business card, so they remember who you are.
Connect a Facebook.
Yeah, and put your Facebook handle on there, your LinkedIn handle, your Instagram handle. You don't need a Pinterest handle on there unless you have a beautiful product you're selling. And that's another thing. If you're selling something, let's say you are a skincare expert who has a shop, and you just invented your own skincare line, let's say. Well, you carry that information in your trunk of your car. If they're too big, if you don't have samples that you can put in your purse to give out, carry pictures. Do a media kit. I still love media kits. I know a lot of people don't do them, but you can certainly do them electronically. But I say carry copies in your car, because if you have lunch with someone and you said, this is what I do, oh yeah, I'd like to know more about that. Well, guess what? You can give them your card. They'll go back to their office, and the odds of them going to your website are pretty slim, because you get busy.
Yeah.
So you can hand them something that has photos and info. They've got that in their hand that they're going to look at when they get back to the office. So that's some other advice that I give. But, personal branding is really important. I did that before I even knew what personal branding was, when I was very young, and I started out by being a volunteer, and my volunteer career grew and grew and grew until most people in the community knew who I was. And so therefore, when I moved to Los Angeles and discovered that what I did as a volunteer, people pay you to do, and so it all turned into a really great career. And that's a good place to start. Plus the fact you're giving something back to the community, and you're helping out where you came from.
Well, I was going to say that, so putting yourself out there, you know, finding that niche, putting yourself out there, kind of knowing what you have to offer, and be confident to share what that is. But then the other thing, what you just said was, so it's the awareness, so people know who you are. So you're growing awareness of your own personal brand.
It's more of who knows you
and who knows you. Okay, and making the good connections. But then also that goes to brand reputation. And we know that, how good is your character then? Do you do what you say you're going to do?
Credibility.
The credibility, so all of
showing
those things.
on time.
Yeah, so all those things play into it too, because that can hurt our personal brand.
I read an article not too long ago about, and it was just a short article. A woman wrote and was supposed to interview Kris Kardashian, and boy did she not want to. She didn't, but she was assigned to do this interview for Marie Claire with Kris Kardashian, and it's so interesting to me because of what she said. She said, number one, this woman is a professional. Number one, she was on time, which is unusual.
Okay.
Number two, she stuck to the subject. She knew her subject well, and she never did not answer. She answered every question and answered it in full, and was a pleasant person to be around. That's so important. Because that credibility of hers, she doesn't have that reputation all the time. That's not what we hear about her all the time in gossip columns and that sort of thing. So that was critical and important. But also, it's also critical and important to the credibility is show up on time and do what you say you're going to do. And
so meet your deadlines.
Be early, not late. You know, and if you say I'll have it to you Thursday at 4:00, have it Thursday morning. You know, that sort of thing.
The worst thing would be that a journalist or anyone is interested in what you had to say, your story, what you have to offer, and then you not follow through with it.
They'll never trust you again.
Yeah. So I had, of course, in Chicks in Charge, for those of you who are new to it, so we're a social networking and leadership group for boss chicks, both managers as well as entrepreneurs. So we have these quarterly Girls Night Out events that are also an opportunity for us to promote each other. So exactly what you're saying, we're putting ourselves out there, we're sharing our treats. Like we just had our trick or treat ball, third annual, and we did it outside to be safer. We limited the number of booths, but in addition, you could be a trick or treat bag sponsor where you would still get to put your information in. So even if you didn't feel comfortable coming in person, or you were already going out of town or whatever, so I love events like that, because we're able to, in one setting, meet. Someone would go away from there knowing that there's these 20 local businesses that they could support and shop.
Exactly.
And so then if your information that you put in that bag interests me because it had a good hook on it, so in addition to getting a little treat, hopefully I'm getting something that could be a business relationship. So a great example is one of our members, Jessie Condor, is Bellamy rep, which is skincare. And she had done exactly what you're saying about the samples. And she had done the whole regime, the whole little system there. And so then 2 days later, my sister, who I'd seen, and I had an extra bag, so I gave it to her, and she tried it. And then she says, oh, I just ordered the eye cream from her. So
you never know. You might have a customer for life there.
Yeah, and so Jessie did not meet my sister in person for that to happen. It happened through a promotional and PR opportunity. So you have to say yes. She needed to do what she needed to do. You know, she ended up having her, because we're all so busy. And so I think we have sometimes the desire to do these things, and we know that we should, but if we don't follow through with it or assign it to someone else or put it, it's like you've got to put PR and your brand to the front burner instead of always having it be the back burner or the bottom of our list, because we're never going to get to it.
No, you're not. And basically, I guess, and I tell people this, which is an amazing story. You know, the large companies that are based in New York, Maybelline, lots of those. You know, the PR people are paid more than the CEOs, because that's how that's how important it is to get yourself out there. And I also tell people, when we're just starting out, well, what do I do? How do I brand myself? Nobody knows me. And I give them all this advice, and I say, and if you're not able to do that, or you're not comfortable doing that, this is what you do. You start out by inviting one new person for coffee every week.
Yeah.
And then build up to 2 new people for coffee. And pretty soon your schedule will be so tight, people will be calling you.
Well, and it could even be a virtual coffee
absolutely.
chat. And
now, certainly.
Well, and one of the challenges that we have that we encourage people to do in Chicks in Charge, so we have Flock Friday. So making sure, like, are you following each other? Are you connecting? Is there an opportunity for a collaboration? Because all the information's there. We have each other's information in the directory, so then it's up to us to take the time to reach out and make that connection and be think creatively, like, what could I do in the next quarter, or what do I want to do in 2021 where we could all pool our resources and our connections. And that's what's so fun about our events that we host. But I thought that was a really good example of how Jessie put the sample in.
Exactly.
She got it. She immediately, within 48 hours, got business from that. But the other thing is, when you're talking about follow through and then follow up, is when you have those email lists. So let's say you go do a trade show, or you go and you met a bunch of people, is to follow up, email them and say, hey, it was nice to meet you.
Exactly.
Thanks for coming to the event. I hope you'll have the chance to try the sample.
What you have to do.
Come to my next event. Every time. And so again, that takes discipline to do that, because so often we have the information and then we don't use it.
And think about what you have, and think about what your contacts have. For instance, I have another company, and I sell what's called BootRoxx, which are boot covers for your boots, so you can have a different look every day or every week if you want. And there's another girl in Chicks in Charge who does the most darling clothing, 9 on 33rd. So I went to her with this. I said, let's do every week a Facebook Live with your clothes and my boots, and I'll get the BootRoxx to match your clothing. And we're starting that this Friday. And how could she say no? Because it's brilliant for her, and also for my business as well. And I think more people need to do that, need to get together and like maybe if you do makeup, maybe do something with a hair person, and let's do wedding hair or evening hair, or something with makeup and something like that. You find somebody who has something similar that can benefit from what you want to do.
I love that.
Yeah,
great
and
advice.
jump in together.
All right. Thank you so much, Cyndy.
Thank you.
Before we leave, I wanted to say you are a multi-entrepreneur. So in addition to, so when you mentioned BootRoxx, I want to let the audience know is that you have that publicity background, and now you're also have to have the PR hat in your Boss Chick hat for your other businesses. So you've got BootRoxx, you have Ever After OK, which is a wedding and event space that's in Central Oklahoma City, and then you also have Media Insider that's coming out, so that. And we will definitely post links so that our audience can buy those once you have that available, so that you would have the contact list that you would need.
That's what Media
to be
Insider
able to
is.
reach
a media
out.
list for the state of Oklahoma.
Yeah. So, and then as you grow nationally too,
there
so we'll
you
have
go.
that on there. So,
Thank
okay,
you.
yeah, absolutely. So you all can connect with Cyndy and myself and all the other Boss Chicks at chicksincharge.club is our website. We are on Instagram and Facebook as well. And if you are a boss chick out there anywhere in the country, you can join. We now have a cloud chapter. So we have a virtual chapter where we will still have a virtual coffee chat one month, and then the next month will be a virtual happy hour. And then, hey, maybe you want to start a Chicks in Charge chapter in your
Your
city.
own city.
Yeah, and so we are definitely growing. 2021 is going to be skyrocket.
I agree.
Right? And so stay tuned. Definitely please like this, pass it on, share it, subscribe to our channel. And we are so thankful for you all. And we'd love to hear your feedback and to get to know you a little bit better. Thank you so much, Cyndy.
Oh, thank you. I loved it.